Get the fuck out of here, you stupid ass monkey! And then I kick him into the horizon because he's small and so's his stick. Welcome to Gen 8, everybody. Thwacky is bigger and has bigger sticks, but normally this wouldn't be enough to make me give it a chance. However, I think we're all overlooking the fact that it is a monkey. Monkeys are kinda known for being batshit insane at times, so it could just go apeshit and beat the fuck out of me, but for the time being, I'ma just say I have the advantage. Nope. Nuh-uh. That is a gorilla, and you just don't fuck with them. Especially one that's nearly a foot taller than a regular gorilla. Get him away from me. I win against Grookey, I have the advantage over Thwacky, and I lose to Rillaboom. Scorbunny doesn't seem like the physically threatening type, but the dex mentions fire energy, heavy damage, full power, and many other scary words that are forcing me to make it so Scorbunny has a chance. I won't go any further than that, because it's very small, but it has a chance. Raboot is still really small and light, but this time he's a booty-kicking, head-butting, flame-shooting nightmare rabbit. I would say it has the advantage, but that implies I could catch him, and rabbits tend to be pretty fast, so Raboot can have the win. The dude kicks flaming footballs made of pebbles. What in the goddamn hell fuck do you expect me to do other than die? I hope not much, because I am dying. I have the advantage over Scorbunny, and I lose to Raboot and Cinderace. It is a fact that whether I want to or not, I will cry while fighting Sobble. When it cries tears that are the equivalent of 100 onions, which is science, I guess. Regardless, I'd win fairly easily, but damn will it make me sad. Yeah, it has water bubbles and a long ass tongue, but my chemical lizard over here isn't exactly packing a punch. I'm gonna pull his stupid tongue out of his mouth and kick him till he stops moving. Time for a little science. Inteleon can fire Mach 3 water bullets, which means it can shoot at roughly 2300 miles an hour. And at only 120 miles an hour, hitting water, or subsequently getting hit by water, is the same thing as hitting concrete. So this dude can shoot concrete at 2300 miles an hour directly into your face. Fun. I win against Sobble and Drizzile, and I lose to Inteleon. This is just a squirrel. I don't feel particularly threatened by Squovit, because just look at him. Look at how big his damn cheeks are and tell me that you're threatened. Anyways, get kicked! Yeah, I suppose a squirrel that big is kinda scary, but also it somehow only weighs 6 kg, which might break some laws of physics honestly, but oh well, I take what I can get. At that weight, I could easily toss him about like a ragdoll and finish it off basically whenever I wanted. So screw you, I'm taking this. I win against Squovit and Greedent. Apparently, Rookedy benefits from every battle because every defeat makes it a little stronger. However, I'm gonna kill him, so will he get stronger? I don't believe so. Corvisquire is a super smart birdie that can use tools. However, he's not allowed to. So can I beat a bird in a fight? Yeah, I'm gonna say I can. Hollow bones, very little weight, I'm just gonna slap him out the sky. 7-foot bird of steel and great intelligence? Yeah, I'll give it a go, why not? And that was the day that Chris was promptly torn to shreds by the 7-foot bird of steel and great intelligence. I win against Rookedy and Corvisquire, and I lose to Corviknight. The deck specifically calls out that Blipbug is very smart, but it also says, and I quote, "Very strong is what it isn't," which is just super duper shade thrown at this tiny man. We know he's not strong, you don't have to publicly shame him in the files. Dottler is like if Shelgon was bug-type Gandhi. Dottler has basically been fasting inside that shell to prepare for evolution, but this has awakened his psychic powers, which immediately just makes this a fair fight, because psychic powers is such a broad spectrum of things. It ranges from picking things up, like remote controls, to just stopping your heart. He can have the fair fight, because he's not too big either. Okay, so Orbeetle has immense psychic powers and can observe things up to 6 miles away, so this went from a fair fight to fucked in about 20 levels. I win against Blipbug, Dottler's a fair fight, and I lose to Orbeetle. Take this, you son of a bitch! Now this is a bigger fox, and he comes equipped with sharp stabby claws, which is always not good. However, he's a thief, which is fancy talk for coward. I'm gonna kick him in the ribs. I'll give him a chance, but in life or death, he's not looking too hot. I win against Nickit, and I have the advantage over Thievul. Very cute and very charming, however I wouldn't go as far as saying it was well versed in martial arts or shooting laser beams, so unfortunately I'm gonna have to eat Gossifleur. I'm just gonna pick up Eldegoss and I destroy these things on the regs when they grow in my garden. The second a dandelion spawns on my driveway, I win against Gossifleur and Eldegoss. Now yes, Wooloo does have a fleece so good at cushioning blows that if it fell off a cliff it would be completely fine. However, all this means is that unfortunately I have to punch Wooloo in the face until it dies, which trust me, it'll hurt me to do, but the game's the game. Well, for some reason, the Dex specifically mentions that Double only uses the horns to impress the ladies, and that they never see use in battle, but I'm sure that if I started laying into it, it would stop caring so much and just gore me, and I don't fuck with rams. But there is a chance for me technically. I win against Wooloo and Double has the advantage. I'm sure it has a wicked bite, but also, I'm gonna flip him over and leave him there, and if that don't work, I'm gonna twist his head 360 degrees. Fuck. Dreadnought is obviously not something a human could realistically take. With an extendo neck and the ability to just eat boulders, my only hope is that it's swift with the killing. I win against Tootle and I lose to Dreadnought. It crackles when it runs, but I'm not taking that as it's shooting electricity. This is a family pet and not a killing machine. I would have this thing sorted out quicker than you could say, oh shit, that guy is beating up a dog. Now, let's do some science. Hey, Future Chris here, just to tell you that everything I'm about to say is absolute malarkey. All you need to know is it's gonna really fucking hurt. This is a 3-foot dog that weighs 34 kg and can run 50 miles an hour. By using an impact force calculator and assuming an impact duration of a second, which is roughly how long our two bodies would be connected, with no specific distance given, we can find that Bolton at its peak would be able to tackle us with a force of 1,519 newtons or 155 kg, which would again be happening at 50 miles an hour, so imagine a panda being dropped on you and then you die. That's what it would be like. But don't take my word as gospel. I'm no mathematician. I win against Yamper and I lose against Bolton. Now Roly-Coly is obviously coal, but also, what's he gonna do to me? Roll into me? Sure. Regardless, it might take a while, but I could eventually just smash him to pieces. I'll be taking this one. Carcoal, for some ungodly reason, can travel at 18 miles an hour, and with him weighing 70 odd kg, I thought that I was done for, but then I read that he breathes 1000 degrees Celsius flames, and then I knew I was done for. Well, this is a 310 kilogram pile of rocks, which is obviously enough, but the Dex mentions it's usually quite gentle unless you are vandalizing a mine, at which point it will incinerate you. That's taken straight from the Dex, by the way. Usually it says that it beats people up or shows no mercy, but Colossal apparently gets so mad that they had to say that it incinerates you. That's fucked. I win against Roly-Coly and I lose to Carcoal and Colossal. Applin cannot survive without the apple. Its body loses moisture and it grows weak. Also, it's just a worm. Also, Flapple weighs 1 kg, which I don't believe should be possible, but whatever. So obviously, I'm just gonna punch it out of the sky, right? Wrong. It flies, of course, but also it spits an acid strong enough to melt metal. Its intense offensive capabilities combined with its non-existent defense leads me to believe that this would be a fair fight. First blood wins. Appleton is a chunky boy, is what I would be saying if he didn't weigh a measly 13 kilograms. That's unbelievable. I would have thought he was sitting in the 30s minimum, but nope, I could lift him over my head and keg toss him. And also, he'd be delicious once the fight was over. I win against Applin, Flapple is a fair fight, and I win against Appleton. Silicobra is a long snake that weighs very little and only has one move. Nostril Sand. Annoying to say the least, but threatening? Not in the slightest. Stomp on him, strangle him, pull him into 2 very clean pieces, whatever you want really. Now this snake is a threat. Being of genuine snake size and being quite hefty at over 60 kilograms, Sandaconda is scary. Not just because it's big, but also because it can fire 100 kilograms of sand at you with enough force to wash away a dump truck. So essentially, he can nose cannon sand at you and you'll just die. Sandaconda is pretty fucking cool, I can't lie. I win against Silicobra and I lose against Sandaconda. Other than relating quite heavily to Cramorant, I was not expecting the Dex to say that he's an incredible battler. Cramorant puts all of its effort and brain power into battling in exchange for being a complete fucking moron. They even mention him being able to knock out some opponents in a single hit. So unbelievably, I'm going to say he has the advantage. He's real strong, but again, he's still pretty small. Cramorant has the advantage. Arrokuda is exactly that. An arrow. It charges at you and then stabs you with its face, which is a Giga Chad move. However, he apparently really sucks at this because his eyes don't work so good. Chances are he's not going to be able to get me, but if he does, chances are still that he's not going to be doing any permanent or lethal damage considering he weighs a single kilogram. Grab him, crumple him up, shoot for 3. Now Barraskewda went from being an arrow to being a spear and is genuinely life-threatening. I'm not going to win this. The dude's jaw is as sharp as an actual spear and as strong as steel, and using the propeller fins on his ass he can travel at 115 miles an hour. What the fuck? He would generate more force than an Olympic level boxer, but all concentrated on a teensy tiny point of his face, so chances are he wouldn't just stab me, he would go straight through me, leaving all my insides on the outside. I win against Arrokuda and I lose to Barraskewda. Now, Toxel can produce a weak poison that causes a tingling sensation if you touch it, and it also creates a weak voltage electricity that can cause a tingling paralysis if you touch it. This sounds potentially dangerous, but I got one word for you. Shoo. I am a man of science, and any good scientist would know that just because something has high volts doesn't mean it's going to kill you. Current and amps are important too. Now, Toxtricity makes no mention of those two things, so I cannot imply that it is dangerous nor safe. However, despite it currently being pretty fair, the dude still generates electricity. It's gonna fuck me up no matter what. Adding on the poisonous sweat and the fact that he chugs stagnant water, I think it's pretty safe to give him the win. I win against Toxel and I lose to Toxtricity. So Sizzlipede really is just a small oven. When it finds prey, it wraps them up and uses its coils to cook them so those little yellow sections on his body get to about 200 degrees roughly. Now I'm not saying he weighs 1 kg, because every first stage in this fucking region weighs 1 kg, but he does, and I'm gonna kick him to death. Nope. Nuh-uh, this guy is fucked up. I don't think anyone is actually giving Centiskorch the respect he deserves. This is one of the scariest ideas for a Pokemon. First off, 9-foot centipede. Bad. Secondly, 120 kilograms, so good luck lifting him off you. And finally, he's gonna wrap around you and cook you alive while also laying into you with his fangs. Also, he's just a whip and will lash you for fun, I guess. But point is, I love Centiskorch, I never ever want to see one. I win against Sizzlipede and I lose to Centiskorch. It's just a little guy. No threat, no hatred, just a cute little thing. I would love to be friends with him, but unfortunately the rules of nature dictate that I must clobber him. Grapploct is literally nothing but muscle. The dex says that its body is pure muscle, which makes its grappling move tremendously powerful. And despite the smallness of Clobberpuss, he grows to a terrifying 5'3". So we have a human-sized martial arts octopus with only muscle and hatred to give me. I'm gonna go lay down. I win against Clobberpuss and I lose against Grapploct. Sinistea is a ghost that kills you from the inside when you drink it, but there are two main issues with this. Firstly, you have to drink it, which I'm not gonna. And secondly, it apparently tastes like shit to people, so they just spit it out almost instantly. So really, I'm being threatened by a cup, which I will promptly destroy. Poltegeist actually tastes very good, but the issue still stands that I ain't fucking drinking it. However, this time a new issue has arisen in that it can fire tea from the pot, so this Pokemon learns Scald, even though it actually doesn't, but with this, it becomes likely that even if I win, I'm gonna get burnt to hell. And also, it could just aim at my eyes to blind me and end up winning. Because of how fragile it is, I'm gonna call it fair. I win against Sinistea, and Poltegeist is a fair fight. Hatenna is cute and is crap in a fight. If you feel a strong emotion, it'll get super tired and have to rest. If this poor thing met an Annihilate, it would just die. So all I have to do is just sit there and be really mad until I can throw it into the horizon. 4.8 kilograms, 2 foot, looks like another Wyndham. What the fuck? Why? How? Who wrote this? I suppose it has the advantage because of the strength, but I've got a chance because of the size? Kill me. Hatterene just blasts beams and slashes with its tentacle claw. You should never enter its territory, and it's known as the Forest Witch. Last Pokemon that you should never enter the territory of was Beware, and we all know how that went. I win against Hatenna, Hatterene has the advantage, and I lose to Hatterene. Impidimp is kind of the opposite of Hatenna. It thrives off of negative emotions and gets irritated if it can't absorb some. This is why he likes to be annoying. However, annoying doesn't win fights, and I'm gonna beat him to death. Morgrum's weird emo hair is actually just so it can stab you in the eye with it by pretending to bow down and surrender. It ambushes people because it doesn't have confidence in its strength, which is bad in a fist fight. There's no ambushing here, fucko. Grimmsnarl is the classic Pokemon trope of weak idiot Pokemon becomes unstoppable god in one evolution. With the hair supporting its muscles, it can overwhelm Machamp, who can punch people over the horizon and throw 1,000 punches a second. Also, its hair works like tentacles. So yeah. I win against Impidimp and Morgrem, and I lose to Grimmsnarl. Obstagoon isn't threateningly big or heavy, however, he's a badger, and any human on this earth with a frontal lobe knows you don't fuck with badgers. On top of this, Obstagoon is just covered in claws and teeth. It also learns Obstruct, like the dex mentions the move by name, so it and all of its effects are in play. So if I go to hit Obstagoon, it can nullify the damage, and it will lower my defense, which isn't actually something we've encountered up to now, but combining badger, teeth, claws, obstruct, lower defenses, yeah, I'm just fucked. I lose to Obstagoon. Berserker is just a cat that loves fighting and has dagger claws, so kinda just a regular cat, but this one has armoured hair. The dagger claws aren't slashy though, they're stabby, which is far more dangerous. If it gets me almost anywhere important, I will bleed out and die even if I won. So I think it's safe to say that Berserker has the far and away advantage. Berserker has the advantage. Okay, so Cursula isn't tall and doesn't weigh almost anything, but here's the issue. The ghostly shit surrounding its body is actually ectoplasm, and if you touch it, your body becomes as stiff as stone. So like, what do? I'm gonna be honest, all I've gotta go on is that the shell is supposedly overflowing with otherworldly energy, which I'm just gonna take as power. I can't touch it, it'll just kill me eventually. I lose against Cursula. Sirfetch'd is a 2'7" duck with some veg. Like, where's the threat? Oh wait a minute, he weighs 117 kilograms. How? Is he made of fucking tungsten? Well, this became a whole lot harder. Sirfetch'd is obviously based on knights, so he's got a sword and a shield. The shield is apparently capable of deflecting attacks, and its leek, despite being a sharpened vegetable, is capable of cutting. So I'm fighting a dude with offense, defense, and who is so heavy it would actually take all of my strength. Unlike an Olympic regulation bar, most ducks don't come with a specific holding point, so honestly, I'm super fucked. However, the small size and no mention of him being faster than any regular human leads me to believe that a kick to the head would still do damage. If I can get past all of his attempts, I could maybe sneak a win. Sirfetch'd has the advantage. Okay, so Mr. Rhyme is an odd one. Usually in these fights I say that the evolution is usually capable of whatever the pre-evolution was. However, Galarian Mr. Mime just talks about freezing the floor, while regular Mr. Mime talks about faking objects into existence, like, I don't know, a fucking double-barrel kaboomy. So what do? Mr. Rhyme's dex entries mention it releasing psychic powers from its stomach, and if I combine this with Galarian Mime freezing the floor, I'm gonna just say I lose. But if he only gets the psychic powers, since that's all that's in his dex entries, then it could be different. For now, I lose, but you're all welcome to give your input. I lose against Mr. Rhyme. Despite being a ghost in a rock, Runerigus is 5'3" and only weighs 66.6 kilograms. Now I understand that that is the Satan number, but also, he's made of pissing rock, you melon heads. Well, the point is I still can't do anything to him. He's still as hard as a rock, I assume, and if you touch the shadowy parts, it shows you horrifying memories behind the picture. So, despite the scientific anomalies, I ain't beaten the ghost rock. I lose against Runerigus. Milcery's battle tactic is to cover you in cream, don't clip that, and then running away. If your battle tactic involves running away, then you're gonna die. I'm sorry, small blob of cream. Alcremie is just a good ass Pokemon. No haters, bunch of cool forms, not overpowered but still good, cute, so the fact that I have to kill it is depressing. It's small, it does no damage. Small eaten mess woman, I'm going to have to kick you into a bunch of mushy pieces. I win against Milcery and Alcremie. Phalanx are a coordinated group of 6 tiny yellow Kirbys wearing helmets. Now the dex says that they are technically all warriors and that they get in fights and have tactics and formations, and that the front one is stronger and smarter than the rest. But do you understand how vague all of that is? All I know is that the front one has an extendable horn and they're smart enough to understand strategy, so I can make it a fair fight. There's no reason physically that I should lose, but if they gang up on me, who knows? Phalanx is a fair fight. Okay, so we have another Gen 8 Pokemon that weighs only 1 kilogram, but this time it's a real threat. Sea urchins are already scary because, you know, sharp. But this is a sea urchin with a taser built straight into it. It has 5 hard teeth it uses to scrape seaweed off rocks, which is something. But I bet you're thinking, well, it has electricity in the spines, so if you avoid them, you can win. No. They're just spiky for the sake of being spiky. It can shoot the electricity, which means Chris's heart is gonna be exploded. It doesn't matter how small and weak something is. If it turns off my organs before I get there, then what chance do I stand? I lose to Pincurchin. The dex calls them spikes, but look at those things on its back and you tell me what they're gonna stab. Nothing. Snom is a defenseless little guy, and while I'll be incredibly sad to end him, I'll be happy to finally know what he feels like. And now it flies and learns Blizzard. Despite all of its weaknesses, a Frostmoth would just own basically every human. You don't live blizzards very easily, and it just fires them out because it can, and I'm never reaching it because again, flying. So I've been shafted here. I win against Snom and I lose against Frostmoth. 520 kilograms, 8 foot tall, has a talent for delivering dynamic kicks. Never have I seen a Pokemon that counters me just by being a thing. Literally name a thing I can do because I'll give you the whole list. Exactly. Nothing. Fuck this. I lose to Stonjourner. Eiscue is a Pokemon I was totally expecting to fuck me up, but it turns out that he's pretty shite. He gets food by fishing and then just sort of socializes for the rest of the day. It's small and has a gargantuan ice block on its head that'll definitely hurt if it hits me, but I doubt he's exactly agile, and while I don't use stats, his speed increasing when he loses the blockhead can be seen as proof for this. So ultimately, I'm just gonna body shot him till he's down. I win against Eiscue. Indeedee is genuinely so difficult to explain, so I'm just going to try my best. The males are cool, but their only psychic feat is predicting actions, and so it could potentially use that to dodge any attacks I throw. The females are cited as being able to psychically pick up objects and throw them at people or Pokemon, but only to drive them away? So can the male or female beat me? I suppose technically over time, but is it likely? I don't personally think so. For the time being, I'm going to say I have the advantage, but ultimately it's just however you interpret it. I have the advantage over Indeedee. Morpeko is another weird one. They mention it generating electricity, but not whether it fires it or uses it to electrify itself, but it also talks about how it converts this to dark energy, which I just have no idea what that is. Also, when it's hungry, it apparently drives it to extremes of violence. But how violent can it get being that big? So for now, I'm going to call it fair. I suppose a violent rodent with a bucktooth is still dangerous even without electricity. Morpeko is a fair fight. Bro, I thought Cufant had a stupid design, but all of a sudden it's the coolest shit ever. Cufant. CU. Its body is made of copper, and the green parts are oxidized, and its stupid trunk is just a shovel for digging up ground. Am I stupid, chat? Point is, this is a 100 kilogram elephant made of metal that can lift 5 tons, by the way, which is bullshit, so I'm gonna die. Oh, and it gets worse. I lose against Cufant and Copperaja. This freak of nature is 200 kilos and is almost 6 foot tall. While the upper body is kinda useless, the lower body was apparently what made them unbeatable in ancient times. I'm not ridiculous enough to assume I could win this one, unfortunately. I lose against Dracozolt. Arctozolt is actually way bigger than Dracozolt, being 7 foot 7. However, it weighs less at 150 kilos. It is also super slow, but honestly, in fights like this, walking doesn't matter because I ain't got no range. My best bet would be to climb the damn thing and rock the punching bag head on top. But also, if I got too close, he could literally just fall on me. However, it does also mention being able to produce electricity. Whether it can fire it, I don't know, but I'm not really that confident. It could be a loss, but it could also just have the advantage, and you know what? I deserve a break after all this shit that just kills me, so Arctozolt has the advantage. Dracovish is a funny fella, if by funny you mean extremely dangerous apex predator whose only reason for extinction was that he was too good at hunting and overhunted his own prey. He can run 40 miles an hour and has incredibly strong legs and jaw. However, he can't actually breathe unless he's underwater, so all I have to do is survive until he runs out of breath. Can I do that? Not a chance in hell, he's fucking huge. I lose against Dracovish. Arctovish is the pug of the Pokemon series because this dude has breathing issues, but not like Dracovish has breathing issues. Ignoring that, he's a 6 foot 7, 175 kilogram fish that can blast ice to freeze you solid. I never really stood much of a chance and will happily concede defeat knowing he won't be able to eat me because his stupid mouth is on top of his stupid head. I lose against Arctovish. Now for some ungodly reason I could pick up Duraludon because this idiot only weighs 40 kilos, which makes him half as heavy as Sirfetch'd. But even though I can lift him, he is literally made of metal. What am I supposed to do? Punch him to death? Not happening, dumbass. The metal dinosaur is going to rip me to shit and then promptly run away to pretend to be a building. I lose against Duraludon. If this weak Pokemon is by itself, a mere child could defeat it. Drakloak can fly at over 120 miles an hour, which is always bad, and as a fun added bonus, it can store up energy in its lungs and then shoot them out. While it didn't mention it learning Dragon Pulse, it does learn Dragon Pulse on evolution, which is a stab beam move that fits the description, so the beam shooting plane dragon is gonna win. A supersonic dragon that can turn invisible and actually learns dragon darts? Oh boy, they just did not want me to win this shit, did they? I win against Dreepy and I lose to Drakloak and Dragapult. Normally I do legends separate because they aren't alike enough to clump together, but for these two, you don't even need the dex entries. These are 9-foot tall dogs that weigh over 100 kilos apiece and were known to fight many battles. This would be like fighting a bear, but it was bigger and smarter and had survived wars. I lose to Zacian and Zamazenta. Look how pointy this thing is! He's 65 feet long and weighs 950 kilos. That's 2,094 pounds for all of you interested. Your best bet of getting out of this fight is going back in time and assassinating your own self and preventing it from ever happening in the first place. Other than Arceus on a biblical level, I believe Eternatus is the final boss of Pokemon. He is the strongest after all. I love it to death and it will kill me. I uber lose to Eternatus. I'm not gonna lie, despite the size and not looking too threatening, a baby bear that actually knows real karate is still a huge threat to a regular human. Now upon evolution he does gain actual teeth and claws, but for now I'd say this is a fair fight honestly. Nope, nuh-uh. 6-foot karate bear that'll either kill you in one punch or beat you down until you stop breathing? I'm good with neither of those things, thank you very much. I'd be turned to fucking mush immediately. Kubfu is a fair fight and I lose against Urshifu. 6-foot monkey with crazy big claws and a disposition so aggressive that the whole jungle fears it? I ain't getting involved in this, man. If there's one thing almost every human has been taught, is that if you get funky with a monkey, you best prepared to get donkeyed. They will rip your face off and this dude comes equipped to do it. I lose against Zarude. This is an unapproachable situation. The dude is literally electrical energy. What is a man to do? Touch it? He can generate all of Gala's electricity all by himself and you want me to touch it? That'd be like putting 3 billion forks into 3 billion outlets all at once. He's gonna kill me so hard. I lose against Regieleki. Regidrago is said to have the powers of every dragon Pokemon. Now, based on how I've been running this operation for the last year and a half, I have to take the dex completely seriously here, so let me just throw something out there. Rayquaza, the Creation Trio, the Tau Trio, Eternatus. This dude has it all apparently, and even if you don't take the dex at face value, 6'11", 200 kilograms. I lose against Regidrago. Well, it looks like Game Freak for sure know how big and scary horses are because this horse is 7 foot tall, which is obviously crazy scary, but he also weighs 800 kilograms. If that wasn't enough, which it is, the ice covering him is 100 times harder than Diamond, and anything it wants, it takes by force. I lose against Glastria. Okay, this horse is still very big, 6'7", but he weighs very little, cause Ghost, 44 kilograms. However, its kicks can separate your soul from your body, which I can almost guarantee ain't gonna be like Doctor Strange. It's probably more just kick, thud, death. It'd probably just run at me and then kick me to death like any horse would. I lose against Spectria. Calyrex with the horses? Untouchable, unkillable god with the power to move a whole forest and see into the past and future. Calyrex without the horses. Dancy Dance makes the grass grow, I'm a little deer. I'm dead serious that the dex mentions only his peaceful mercy and love of growing shit. I win against Calyrex. Now, Weirdeer can create invisible barriers, which gives it the advantage right off the bat, but has anyone noticed that he's a big ass semi-sentient deer? You don't mess with a deer, especially if it's taller and heavier than you. Combining this with the invisible barriers, well, I'm just fucked, aren't I? I lose against Weirdeer. Cleavor is a stone-covered praying mantis that cuts down trees and its prey. It's an inch taller than me and weighs roughly the same, but again, made of stone and has axe hands. In Legends Arceus, the dex mentions that if you find one in the wild, your only recourse is to flee. I don't think I would stand very much of a chance against this murderer. I lose against Cleavor. This is a fucking grizzly bear. It's big, it's heavy, and since it doesn't require an item, Blood Moon Ursaluna is actually technically a legal form it can take. So, I'm gonna get sliced into tiny pieces and skinned by its, quite frankly, enormous claws. I lose to Ursaluna. Basculegion is a 9'10" fish that weighs over 100 kilos and is fueled by the rage and or sorrow of its dead friends. It is top of the food chain in Hisui's rivers, which also contain Gyarados and Walrein, so I'm super fucked here and I'm not excited to get eaten alive or torn to shreds. I lose to Basculegion. Sneasler is a lot smaller and lighter than me, but its claws are so long that it probably has the reach advantage regardless. Also, it is incredibly daunting physically. Combining this with its virulent poison, I get the distinct feeling I'm gonna look like the end of Red Dead 2, but less on a cliff with a sunset and more face down in the rain. I lose to Sneasler. This is an 8-foot sea monster that hates everything, probably because it used to be a quillfish, and is just filled to the brim with poison. If it stabs you, it's really hard to pull the spikes out since they're barbed, and honestly, because of how long the spikes are, I wouldn't worry about pulling them out, I'd be more concerned how you're going to get your heart back in. I lose against Overquill. Enamorus is a threatening Pokemon. In its Therian form, which requires an item to be transformed into. That's right, I'm gonna fucking slam this idiot into the floor and stomp its brain out, straight out of its skull. Take that, Tornadus, Thunderous and Landorus, one of you 4 dickheads is gone forever. Finally, this dumbass design is out of my face. I win against Enamorus.